I'm like, so that's what they don't understand. You're doing stuff around me, man. It doesn't got shit to do with y'all. If it, I mean, maybe it does. Maybe you want to put yourself in the situation. But why would you sit and put yourself in a situation? If somebody's not actively coming around you, why would you actively come around them? That's the biggest question. If I was here first and then you came, that means you're coming around me because you can clearly separate yourself. That's the biggest takeaway. And that's how everybody else feels too. Because I'm like, well, why would it be? You're just probably being used by the wrong person and you think you're being used by the right, but it's like, no, you're clearly being used by somebody that is on the left side of the fence, meaning not the right one. So I'm sitting here thinking, why is this one person feeling like they're the Kunta Kabra or the Untakaka, whatever you want to call it, just the shit's boom ba when I'm not surrounding myself. Like when I walk to the bathroom, like you asked me, did I pee on the floor? Come on now. Do I look like the type of person that pees on the floor? Then 9 times out of 10, it's like when I walk back by, you say little slick kiddish shit. Why would you say little slick kitty shit? Or even talk on the same topic. Like, why would you even do that? Like, who does that? I wouldn't waste my time. I would ask you once. I wouldn't even ask you. Or if like actually if I did, I'd be like, can you make sure you clean it up or something? Or just make a general comment like, oh my God, I can't believe people be leaving the bathroom nasty and move on. But like trying to be like kiddish play, kitty play, who does that? And then like the eye roll, like I'm just gonna ask you what I gotta ask you, say what I gotta say, and then move on. But instead, you got and the same person that's telling you something, I guess use a different voice, and then do what? That's another thing. What's to say the voice that you're listening to, hon, isn't the same damn person? So y'all sit around here looking like Google the fool, thinking that y'all helping somebody else. But honey, I could just use a computer program and do 2 different voices. That's why maybe somebody got pissed off at me because I'm like, honey, I'm not quick to be so ooh. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. You type some shit in the pro. You can use like one of them dang masks on screen. Take one out, put another one on. Ooh, guys, do this, and that's your friend. And then another one. Hey, guys, thanks for helping me. And they be playing the shit out of you. And use like this, use that, use this. Like my thing is, how would you know what you're experiencing is real or not? That's the question you should ask yourself. I'm experienced, and that's why it follows me. I'm like, or that's why somebody follows me. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, why is this? Oh, he told you. And then somebody else say, tell him you're not like, okay. Clearly that's somebody that thinks that I am. Because you even coming out the side of your neck, telling somebody to say that you're not, it's kind of like, stupid. How do you sound? Tell him you're not special. Okay, then I must really be. Like, I must really be because you wouldn't waste your time. How boring is it to waste your time with somebody that ain't special or AKA different or AKA somewhat interesting? So it's kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, we've seen your kind before. We've seen, like, what? Then think about it. Okay, well, 9 out of 10, there's probably more people in here like you than it is like, not saying that I'm better, not saying that I'm this, not saying that, but it'll probably be like, well, wow, we want to see what he's doing because he's actually doing a different path. He's doing the right path, meaning he makes a complaint, follows through, does a full request, does FOPA, does this, goes, and if the NYPD doesn't respond, goes to CCRB, has a hearing, goes to court, try to pull out documentation to prove what he's saying, stands up for himself, and don't just say, oh, fuck, oh, no, forget the NYPD. Like, no, I know it's not all of them. And for the most part, you can't change stuff by sitting there scratching your balls talking about you. Or talking about somebody, like somebody doing this and somebody doing that and making fun of them. So I'm just saying, like, I don't get some people. Like, even with here, like I told her about the 8. Have you told her about possibly putting the AC in the hallway? A standalone AC? Have you possibly told her about, oh, you could lower the voltage down, or maybe you should put a camera in the hallway, or maybe you should have these little alarm things on the door. That way you know what, if somebody goes in somebody's room. Like, how have you been beneficial towards anything? You know, oh, well, I'm trying to be beneficial, improving. You already approved something or you haven't. Like, if you line people up in here, I bet you 9 times out of 10, you got somebody else that's a duplicate. That's kind of sort of like. You be like, oh, well, this one reminds me of that one, but that reminds me of this one. And you're like, oh, we come to this one, and well, he's just kind of special. Not saying that I'm like the shit go bar or the the car, whatever you want to say to make something sound fancy, but it's just like when you're different, you're different. When you sit there and you're like, oh, this one is by itself, he watches his movies, or he does this, he's not smoking, he's not trying to party, or he doesn't sit and drink, or you know what I mean, or he doesn't do this, or he doesn't do that, and then oh, that's when you start thinking, oh, he's better. It's not that he's better than anybody, he just don't do what the fuck you do. It's like, does he hold his nose up? No, he wants to know why the hell would you even come out your mouth sideways at him if he doesn't even talk to you? If he says hi and moves on, like the guy said at the end of the hall, he was like, wow, I didn't know you were kind of cool like that. I was like, well, have you talked to me by yourself without being told what to say? But then we had a nice little, what were we talking about? Ryan caught one day, and we talked about something else. The other was like, he came and he was like, apologize if he read into something the wrong way. And I was like, right, because I don't know why people are reading something the wrong way when I'm just asking a general question. Why are you doing this? And then I'm telling you what you need to know. Okay, the little shit that y'all doing, somebody could be watching me. I have a TV in my room right now, which I need to go cover up around the corners of it. I typically don't buy from secondhand. I bought secondhand. What's to say something ain't in there watching? Why are you thinking something just so grand? It could be something like a camera in my TV. Oh, he about to go to the bathroom. Of course I am. You saw me grab what? You saw me probably grab my little, or, well, not little, but you saw me grab my little, or either grab up my clothes, or he about to go wash clothes. Of course, nigga, I just grabbed up clothes. Then you go to the hallway. Why you come out with clothes? Or, what is it? You know that my room was smelling some way. So what? You know, I'm going to try to wash my stuff. But then you count my money, so you know what? I don't have enough. So you put 1, 2, 3, and 4 and make 5. Or 6 or 7 or 8, whatever you need to make it. So I'm like, it's not really, that's not the special part. But then somebody else turns back around and says this, says that, says this, says that. Do you really know what you're doing? And then what's to say, one thing that kills me about people that don't think is, what's to say that once you successfully covered up what you wanted, they wanted you to cover up, what's to say they need you? Look at where you're at in the first place. They'll give you an apartment, they might. Or they might do this, they do whatever they want. They might give you some change. They might try to cover up for you. Or they might uncover it for you by putting me here. Because I'm like thinking in the back of my mind, somebody that stands up for themselves and calls shit out. You put them around people that don't want stuff called out, they should tell you, hey, just don't say nothing to him. Say hi and bye, leave it at that. I'm like, if I was your friend, and I'm like, okay, well, I know Joseph don't play no about the bull. Like, he gonna come and ask you this, that, and the third, respectfully. I'd be like, okay, well, say hi, say bye, leave it at that. And like I told somebody before, I was like, it could be your greatest cover. So that's the other thing when I was like, okay, if somebody said, oh, but the government sent you here, then no, that ain't there. I was like, if you wouldn't even go into the ET zone, I would be like, well, ET, honey, you should have just listened to what the fuck Joseph said. I was like, there was some damn real, you know what I mean? But I'm like, honey, I'm sure they can handle it. Oh, they're not right. Probably the people that knew the secret, you know what I mean? Like, if we're going hypothetical, would be like, if you listen, like I told my neighbors the last one, if y'all listen, wouldn't nobody know that? Well, somebody might. It's okay, well then if you're calling it out, don't you think they probably know? Because they're probably sitting there looking at you like, now we know this nigga call out, so why would you keep going? Like the dude walking by my door yesterday talking about, why would you stand right at my door, bro? I'm like, okay, I got a big ass, what is this called? What is this? I got a big audio recording at my door. You've seen it in my other posts. So why the hell would you come right at my doorway talking about, you said you was going to do something in particular, ask me about a freaking torch. Like, dude, first of all, you asked me before, and I told you no. And we never smoked together. You don't see smoke coming out my room. As a matter of fact, when somebody was smoking in the hall, I said, I don't like that smell. So why would you come asking me about, after you asked me about doing something else, and then standing at my door talking about doing something I said I wouldn't want to do? But you're sitting there right next to something that clearly says, because nobody else's door really got something on it like that. So mine says recording, and everybody already saw recording, blah, 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 blah. What are you recording us? I'd rather not. If you're talking about drugs, keep the shit in your room and I won't hear it. If you're talking about drinking, don't be like coming acting like a buffoon in the hallway. Then guess what happens? Don't nobody know about your shit. Like, my camera picks up visual in my room. My camera picks up audio. It can from the hallway if it wanted to. And that's pretty much it. That's what I really don't get about like this whole thing is like, what the hell? And if you're trying to prove out something, like, I was like, whatchamacallit? And then they're trying to act like they this and that. I'm like, okay, hon, but then you got a whole bunch of people coming in and out your apartment. So if you did, then 9 times out of 10 they didn't heard and seen and planted something. The only person's apartment that they didn't come in or weren't allowed to stay in that long was guess whose? For some reason, Joseph's. I was like, think about it. Every other apartment they came in, but my apartment, you couldn't come in. That was weird. I'm like, okay, then the maintenance man, they would be in and out. I had my cabinets on there for the longest. I had the plaster man come. He left partial of the number. Like, he didn't even leave the whole number. So I was like, why you didn't leave the whole? I just noticed that. Dude, one of these numbers is missing. So you really didn't want to plaster my dang apartment. You don't want to extensively work in my apartment. Maybe that's why you put me there, because you know I'm not going to sit up here and want to look at these ugly, gray, dingy walls. So you know I'm going to end up painting and doing my own stuff, regardless. I'm like, then somebody else tells me, oh, you're not that. I clearly am. If you got all these people running around here doing all this stuff. That's what's weird, though. I'm like, why? And then if somebody's feeling some type of way of jealousy, I'm like, honey, I don't know why the y'all would really be that. It's not like it's really this, that, and the third. And then somebody always telling somebody else to say something. Say something for somebody. You know how intriguing that becomes, getting people to do what you want them to do or say what you want them to say? I'm like, y'all should play that. I'm like, I want to go in the hall and tell them, y'all should play that with each other and see how fun it is. Somebody had got having a little too much fun. Oh, say this and they do it. You can start fights and have people mad at each other and all this extra stuff at your whim. Oh, I don't know. I know you don't like the word FAG. So say FAG. I'm just like, I don't get that. I'm like, so my thing would be making sure that your people don't do stuff around. Good morning. Here. I think I already answered.